Welcome to the Soul Tribe Podcast. The Soul Tribe Podcast was created to help you navigate through the world of spirituality, wellness, and self-development in an easy, grounded, and relatable way. We break down everything from the Akashic records, manifesting, spirituality, and so much more. We want to help expand your boundaries and bring the spiritual world to you in a fun and easy way. Get ready to be inspired with tips, tools, and easy to digest information. Let's do this.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Soul Tribe Podcast. And today's episode is the predictions episode.
2023.
I can't believe we're already here.
It's our annual episode.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. We didn't expect this to be like an annual thing, but I think most people are really excited about it, and we try to make it interactive. We reached out we basically just put up like a story on Instagram. We reached out to our Patreon members as well and asked for feedback on topics and questions. So we'll be incorporating
but the Patreon
some
one
of
is
those.
because we always do an extended version on Patreon.
Yeah, we do an extended one. We go a little bit deeper into some of the topics, and obviously whatever anybody wants to hear, we kind of go into that too. We try to touch on it as much as we can. But this episode, I always look forward to it because I always feel like it's not the kind of channeling I personally do. And we always talk about how the Akashic Records is a lot about probabilities and possibilities, right? But I do feel like a lot of the things that we've channeled have been pretty interesting, to say the least.
Yeah. Nice way to say it. Shoot, I had something in my head while you were talking and I was going to say it. Now I lost it.
The Patreon. You're talking about the Patreon?
Oh, maybe the Patreon. Well, the interesting thing about Patreon is, yeah. We have no clue what answers we're going to get, guys. I did not ask before. I did not look into it before. So I don't know what we're going to get. I'm kind of like, you're excited. I'm a little nervous. Like, I wonder what we're going to find out. So I'm like there in the middle. So yeah, I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that, like we kind of don't know exactly what to expect, and we're finding out with you guys with our information coming in this episode. But what I wanted to add was I do have a sneaky suspicion that at some point we're going to hear things about empowerment or getting communities together and things like that, because that's what we've been feeling. And because you don't have to like just channel the way you feel and the urges you get and the things earth makes you aware of, the energy that you're around makes you aware of, or makes you like, I don't know, desire or want. That's kind of your indicator already of where you need to go. And it's an answer in itself, isn't it? And for us, what we did, everyone that listens to us knows that we did a Norway Patreon get-together, which very few of us were able to go, including you weren't not able to go.
No, unfortunately.
So we were recently talking on the Patreon for everybody to post, like, okay, where exactly are you, right? So everyone in their area can start getting together. And then we've generally spoke about how it would be cool to do another get-together maybe via areas. Like the States does one, Europe does another one, things like that. But then we had a conversation in the parallel outside of just talking to the Patreon members, and we said maybe we can up it this year because we feel like we really need to this year. I mean, like I'm already 2023 this year.
Me too.
Yeah, 2023. Maybe we up it and we really, do votes and say, okay, where's everyone willing to travel to? Because now that we can currently travel more, like where are we willing to travel to, and then get as many of us Patreoners together so we can have an experience. And the idea is not just let's get together and hang out. The idea is to do similar to what we did in Norway, which is we get the Akashic Records also to give us exercises, advice, and we also talked about, and we didn't talk about this with the Patreon members yet, but we also talked about, like, we have a bunch of healers in the group. So then we can all take turns and, like, everyone does their thing. If there are, of course, no obligations. But, like, everyone does their thing and we heal each other and we assist each other.
That's what community is all about.
Yeah.
Right?
So I'm excited about that. And I have a feeling we're going to get responses today because that's what we've been trying to create.
Yeah, I love that idea, and it's been really hard to even think about those things because of everything that was happening in the world for a couple of years, right? So I like that idea, and it could be something that we do annually or maybe a couple times a year. We're going to figure that out, and we're going to see, and we're getting feedback from the members of the community. So that really excites me to be able to also meet some people in person.
I'm so excited for that.
Yeah, you got to meet some people. I haven't been able to
It's so
meet
different. Like when you meet someone in person, the connection we already have a connection because we're consistently talking in a group. But when you meet them in person, you find out who you like really vibe with, and it's like, and we all got together. We got together. We all got along, but there's like specific connections you have where like there'll be this one subject and you already know who to go to, to talk about more. It was kind of like that. Sure. Yeah.
I already find that without even knowing people in person, but we all are like helping each other. And I feel like from various people I've talked to within the group at an individual level, right? They're saying, oh, I'm really connected with this person here and they're helping me with this and I'm helping them with this. It's beautiful. Like it literally gives me just goosebumps all over my body because it feels like exactly what we always envisioned when we started the podcast and when we started this community. We wanted something that really helped people feel supported, helped people feel like they weren't alone, because we felt a little bit alone, right? We were in 2 different countries. We were talking about all these spiritual things. And, I think there's also so much compassion in the group where there's people that have very different viewpoints on subjects and ways of living, but we all support each other and we all understand each other, or we try to understand each other and see things from different perspectives. And that's what I feel like if I were ever to, like, that was my vision. Like if I ever created a community, it would feel like that. It would be like that. So
I think for me, it was always like you would hear about communities gathering and sometimes there was like this little cult feeling inside of it. And I was like, no, that's not what I want. Like even when we created the Telegram, like at one point I was like, you guys can literally, I'm not here to filter anything anybody's like, you guys can talk about whatever you want and say what you want because I'm not a boss. Like it's just that we all got together, right? And so everyone can share whatever they want. And I'm not going to come in ever and stop anyone from saying anything unless there's like a total and complete disrespect from one person attacking another. Then that's a different thing. But that hasn't happened because that's not the kind of people that are in the group. So, that's how I want it. Like, I don't want it to be like a hierarchy or a, like, you know what I mean?
We're all equals.
Yes.
We're all equals. We all respect each other. We're not judging each other.
Yeah.
We're there for each other. That's the way it feels. So yeah, if any of you are looking for a community that feels like that, feel free to check out our Patreon. Plus, obviously, you get tons of content that we create monthly, not only individually, myself and Lou, but also together. We channel and we talk about different topics. Then we have like the Telegram, like Lou said. So,
and I'm planning on starting to add my so I'm doing angelic healing once a month, and I don't know what it's going to be about. I just it's almost like I vibe with the theme of the month, and then I double check with the angelic team to see what it is they want me to work on that session for that month, and then anyone who wants to sign up for it in the Patreon, they do. And then we all receive it at the same time. So it's kind of cool. Like we're all receiving, and then we all talk about what we're feeling after.
Do you know what the worst part is? I never signed myself up for it.
I know, you're ridiculous.
I forget like that I can join.
Yeah, of course. I even signed myself, Lorena. I'm holding down the session. I'm anchoring it, and I'm orchestrating it, I guess you could say. But I'm also putting myself on the list, and I'm adding myself and I'm receiving it. I'm like, I'm not taking myself out.
Add me then. Add me.
All right, I will. But you got to make sure to actively receive it.
Yeah, of course.
So and then I'm going to personally start talking. I wasn't sure where I was going to do this. I wanted to start talking about the information that I've learned about like the world and all that stuff and the universe and the galactic stuff. I wanted to find a place to do it, and I decided I don't want to keep opening up other pages and I just find it so annoying. And I've decided that I'm probably just going to do it on the Patreon, just make an extension from it, kind of thing. And so the idea is to create.
That sounds good.
Oh, I'm so excited to be able to talk even more. I already do it on the Patreon. I already talk a bunch about the universe and galaxy stuff. But for me, it's like that, like an additional episode that's just specifically to that. It's an excuse for me to talk about it more.
Yeah, and you're really good with all those subjects, and you're really opening people up to. It's super interesting. And I'm talking more about family constellations, the family system. I'm bringing in slowly little exercises to move energy and to acknowledge certain patterns and things that are going on in each of our lives. So it's kind of like you get the really out there stuff, but also the really grounded, plus the healing that you're doing. At some point, once I move forward with my studies, I will also be incorporating something into the Patreon where it's maybe monthly gatherings where we can do family constellation sessions as a group online. That would be like amazing. That would be like a dream. That's my goal. So we'll see how that pans out, but yeah.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah,
cool.
we want to make sure we mention all this because we're really excited about, because we were talking about 2023, right?
We're trying
those
to,
things that we're planning.
Yeah, we want to plan the meetup, and then we also want to just bring more content to the Patreon, bring more stuff like the angelic healing that I just added, and the more episodes that I'm probably going to put there. So yeah, if you guys are interested in that, definitely Lorena, as usual, will leave the link there, and we would love to have anyone that's looking for a community that's not cult-like, that's ready to like learn about the universe and open their mind up and, start reflecting the new era that's coming in.
Yep.
That's already here, actually.
That's already here, which beautifully segues us into 2023. So we figured we do dun dun dun. we would start this episode with we've obviously each opened our Akashic records. And what we're going to do is first each of us connect and kind of say what we get in general for 2023. And then we'll go into some questions and topics and then kind of divide those out. So why don't you?
Yeah, I'm ready to go. You said,
I can tell.
You said, and you already know me. You already know my face. I'm like holding it in. I'm like, oh, they're already giving me stuff. When is she going to stop talking? Okay, they're telling me that if they had to put I love that because when I do readings, they say fluorescent signs. Like, oh, if you have to leave this reading with this fluorescent sign, leave with this word. They love doing that when I do readings. In this case, they're saying the fluorescent sign for us as a 5D community, because that's where we're all aspiring to go into, become, and be, stay in and be. We need to carry the fluorescent sign in our like frontal lobe in the front of our mind, the word co-creator. So there's no more playing around with being like, I'm going to manifest. There's no more playing around with, I'm going to try to manifest. From now on, it's like you will full blown be responsible for what you create. So that also means that if you want to create a certain scenario, reality in your life, you're also responsible for untying the knot or cutting the cord of things that are not going to help you get into that direction. So this is a year to know there's no more time. That's it. And they talked about this, like, I think it was, now I'm remembering in 2000, I don't know if it was 21, 22, but they talked about like how we were preparing for, should already be on the path of what we were going to be wanting to do, right? By 2023, we're supposed to be there already. Well, they're reminding me of that. Whenever it is I said it, I don't remember now. But like, we should already be in the path. So this comes out in November. You have November, December. So if there's something that you've been wanting to create, go sign yourself up for that course. Go look at, do the thing as a hobby, or put yourself on the path of the beginning of it at least. Like, don't hold yourself back anymore. It's urgently important for you to begin it as soon as possible. And if you've already started moving the inertia of it in these 2 months that we have left over, month and a half that we have left over, then you're already assisting yourself into walking into the energy of that co-creator. Because what we're all supposed to learn in 2023 and become and walk into is the energy of being a co-creator. And why is it co-creator? Because you're creating with our creator. We have a source creator that created us, that helped create our soul, and that helped create even these avatar bodies that are giving us the experience we're living. We're co-creating with that energy source, that source being, call it God, call it whatever you want, right? It doesn't matter what title you want to put it. We're co-creating with that thing that you believe in. And so it's really important that you begin this year in a state of knowing that, having that in the front of your mind, and reminding yourself on a consistent basis that now, from now on, the reality that's put upon you in front of you, you have complete control over it. There's no more victim role. There's no more lagging. There's no more sabotaging yourself, letting yourself fall behind. It's now the year of genuine action for your own well-being.
I love that. I completely resonate with everything you just said. I love how you explain what co-creator means, because to me, also what they were giving me as you were speaking, I'm looking at the topics that we're going to go into, and some of them feel heavy, right? They don't feel, some things that feel really good, some things that feel really like we're being challenged in 2023. It doesn't feel like an easy year. And I think that came up, 2023 was when we should be kind of on our path. And it doesn't mean that we have it all figured out. It just means that we started that path, that we've let go of things, that we've worked through things, that we're starting to figure things out. But when I look at that co-creator energy that you're talking about, I feel like it doesn't matter what's happening. It's like you can transcend all of that in some way. Like, not that you're above it, but like it doesn't have to affect you as much. So I want to confirm that because Lou's like nodding. I want to confirm that because it definitely feels so strong that we do get into that energy of co-creating, because otherwise we may feel dragged down and bogged down by some of the stuff that 2023 is bringing our way. And none of the stuff that 2023 is bringing needs to affect us, like I said. But at the same time, there's things that are needed for those that have to experience that. So we all have to see it. It has to be around us. But if we're in the right energy and we're taking the right steps and letting go of those things that are holding us back and taking the action we need to take, we don't have to feel it. I would say like at all, really. It can be something that we just see around us. We understand, we acknowledge, but we don't play into that. In general, for 2023, the feeling I get is that, but also I still feel us doing the work. I still feel us, I don't know. I feel like maybe this goes into some of the stuff you've been talking about specifically, like the moving into 5D. I feel like us connecting at a deeper level with maybe source, with our higher self. I feel like channelers, healers are going to be doing some amazing work this year to really help those that are in need, and that are open to it, that are vulnerable. But we have to be open to that as healers and channelers and whatever that is that we're doing, coaches, counselors, therapists, whatever. And I think alongside that, a message I get that's pretty strong is maybe not all of us have everything healed, and we're not supposed to have everything healed at some point. There's not like a due date, right? But what we do need to be is on that path of like working through our stuff as we're navigating 2023, because that's going to allow us to keep co-creating, transcending some of these things that are happening around us, but also being able to show up for the collective in a bigger way. And that being said, what I get is anybody here that's listening to this podcast that is in the wellness, spiritual healing space, channel space, you got to step it up. This year, you can't hold yourself back anymore. If there's something that you're not acknowledging or assuming, or you're not believing, or you're not trusting, this year it's gonna hit you hard if you're not taking those steps. I feel like you're gonna get those signs pretty strongly for most of us. It's gonna be like, what are you doing? You have to trust this. Move forward. People need you. So I don't feel that being easy either. I feel like it's better for us to acknowledge it and be able to take those steps instead of feeling like we're dragging it along, if that makes sense. Yeah.
And that 5D thing is, I mean, before we get into the questions, like you were saying, that some of them are really heavy, and we're not gonna repeat this again because we don't have to. We've already said it, but when we talk about the scenarios, maybe we don't know what's coming, what they're going to say, but let's say that one of the questions comes up and we say something that maybe sounds a little heavy, negative, or hard to like accept. Remember that the number one rule for 2023, for you to begin to live from 2023, is if you feel this really big pull or inkling to do something, I got to go do this over there. I got to go move over there. I don't know why I have to move houses. I have to change houses. I feel like I have to go vacation over here. Whatever it is that you're feeling this massive pull, it's usually your soul guiding you for a reason. And some of those people are going to be listening to them to go on a trip or to move houses a few blocks away or a whole town away. And then they find out that something happened in that area. So what does it mean for you to be fully vibrating in your true essence? It means you're going to be fully taken care of.
Yeah.
So even if there's 20,000 nuclear bombs going off and your soul signed up to be part of the fifth dimensional shift, then you're going to probably end up in the one little corner of the world that didn't get hit. As long as you listen to yourself. That's not going to happen. I'm just saying
it's an exaggeration.
It's an exaggeration example, right? Yeah. I'm just saying it. So people understand, like, you'll be in the right place at the right time because you listen to yourself. And it could happen that you don't listen to yourself and you end up at the wrong place at the wrong time. That's why I'm urgently telling people, just follow yourself. This is the time to really start learning to listen to yourself. Not the mind, the mental mind that's telling you things. We need to start, yes, we have to use the mind to make decisions and planning and organizing, yes. I'm not telling you to stop thinking. But allow your heart chakra or your gut feeling to be the one that leads you, because that's how your soul is speaking to you. And if someone knows what's going to happen and someone knows how to keep you protected and aligned and in a good place when a financial crash happens, it's your soul.
Yeah.
So before we get into those like heavier topics, if your soul's telling you to do this, there's probably a bigger reason.
Yeah. The first topic, and the first topic we did a couple general, because we obviously, like, we received questions, feedback through Instagram and through some other platforms. So the first one, I put it as like finance, economy, digital money, real estate, and recession. You were just talking about the work and following your heart and your intuition in regard to this topic specifically, and we'll channel deeper into this. But if we are on our path, and what I mean is you are following your purpose, you are listening to the steps, you are getting out of your comfort zone, and you are doing the work that you need to be doing. Specifically, what I'm getting is a message of most people that are listening to this. It might not all be healers, but people that know that they're here to do something bigger, that they're here to serve in some way, that they're here to leave a legacy, an imprint in the collective, right? And it doesn't have to be 100 million people. It could be 5 people. It could be 10 people. Those people, to me, if you are genuinely doing the work because it is something that you feel you need to do in this life, and you're also not undervaluing yourself, you're making sure that you're doing it with the right intention and that you're putting the right price to it, you're getting the right exchange, right? To me, it feels like the recession doesn't have to affect you as bad. We might all feel it a little bit, because I don't feel like we can escape it 100%. Some people will thrive. I feel like some people are gonna just skyrocket and thrive during this recession, like big time. But we need to be guided by our heart, like you said, and that'll protect us in a way energetically, 100%.
Yeah. And sometimes, because we also have to start adjusting the thought form we have on, like, money, because money is actually manipulated. What do you call it? What word do you use? A manipulated, not component, but like, what would you say? Resource. It's like, it's a manipulated resource that doesn't really have a genuine value. It represents energy exchange for us and from a spiritual standpoint, but it actually doesn't have a real value in the sense that it is consistently, on a consistent basis, manipulated, and we're consistently putting value upon ourselves of how much am I worth? Like my job, how much am I worth? When I go try to get a new job, they'll say, okay, well, what's the salary you're looking for? And you're having to put the value to yourself, right? And so that's one of those 3D structures that we need to let go of. So it's sad to say in a way, but it's not going to be a neat process. It's going to be a little bit of a you know what, the way they're showing it to me, like when a building demolition of a building, and then the ashes, maybe you didn't get hit by the building and you're alive, but the ashes kind of go everywhere. Maybe it goes for kilometers and kilometers, and then you have to clean your whole house up because the debris made it into your house. Your house is okay, your family's okay, but you got to clean this all up now. So we're all part of the cleanup team because we're here to create the new structure. We're part of the new structure in some sort of a way. When I mean the new structure, it's the one that vibrates with what we really are, which is fifth dimensional, going into fifth dimensional beings. And so you're still going to have people that vibrate in 3D that signed up for 3D and didn't sign up for a change. So those people are probably going to feel it big time because they signed up for the full-blown 3D experience. And so some of those people might be your friends or your family or, coworkers, and somehow you got a raise and they somehow got fired. Yes. And it's like, why me, because you're not here to experience that, and that's okay. And you can't help everybody. And I'm not saying don't help at all, but you cannot carry that negative feeling of guilt and feeling bad and feeling anything low vibrational, because you're going to see people around you affected more negatively or more heavier than you. And of course, help in whatever way you feel you want to and need to, but don't take on burdens that don't pertain to you, because then you're actually setting yourself back from your alignment and your soul's push to do this over here and do it this way, and that you're protected the whole time. And right?
Yeah, I completely agree. I want to talk about the recession because that is a reality right now. So we talk about finance, economy. We can't not talk about recession right now. I've been
waiting to see, like, for 2 years. We're already beginning. We already began.
We're in it.
Yeah, we're in it.
I personally feel like it's going to get worse.
It is. I feel like I'm still waiting for it. Like when
I'm waiting for
something
it too.
falls.
It's like I haven't seen it yet.
It's like when my child drops something and I know it, like a smoothie or something, and it's gonna be really messy, and you go, and you're just waiting for the splash and to see how much of a mess you have to clean. Like, that's what I feel like I'm waiting for. I'm like, oh yeah, like, how messy is the cleanup gonna be? Like the debris, right? Oh no. So yeah, I feel like I'm holding in. I'm holding it in, like, oh no.
Yeah, I think it depends on how much it'll affect us, depends on how we've been living. That's what they're giving me. Like, have you been buying into the system? How have you been living? The recession will hit you maybe harder in certain ways. And I think we're just seeing the beginning of it, right? And it feels like there's more to come. With that, also, we mentioned real estate and digital money. I think the real estate's going to be pretty affected by the recession, where I think it'd be a good time for anybody that is in real estate to really think about the moves that they're going to make moving forward, because it feels like for some, it might be a good moment to go in. For some, it might be a moment to just chill out and figure the next steps out.
I know that I had received the issue of a lot of people having scenarios with it. It's not as, I don't feel like it's as bad as what was it, the housing crisis that happened? What year was that?
2008, right?
I think so, 2008. I don't feel like it's going to be as bad as that, but it makes me feel like a lot of people are going to have negative scenarios with possibly having to give up a house, or I don't know, try to
change lifestyle.
Yeah.
Change your lifestyle, change the way that they're living, move. And I also agree with you. It doesn't feel as bad.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't feel as bad as 2008, but it does feel like it affects a lot. There's a lot of people that are going to be affected. Yeah. Yeah. So
what do you feel about digital money? Because I'm feeling a few things with that.
I do feel like it's going to go up a little bit this year. I'm saying this year like I'm already in it.
Yeah, 2023. Yeah.
I don't think it's going to skyrocket like it did the, what year was it that when it skyrocketed? 2019? Was it 18? I don't remember. But I'm feeling like it's going to start getting a little bit of its oomph back. And also because...
I'm getting like mixed signals.
Yeah, because it's going to go up a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be like, the rocket thing. I wouldn't sell out on what I have.
Me neither. Whatever I have, I'm leaving. I've said I'm leaving long term. I have to adjust a few things, but with digital money, I'm feeling like what I see for the next, I would say beyond 2023, where more things will become digital. like with digital money, you know, crypto and stuff like that, where I think there'll be more opportunities, more things that we can do with crypto, which in that case, I feel like it could grow and become something more substantial or important, or more like, it feels kind of normal now, but it's not normal yet, right? Because like you're saying, it's not like this normal, not everybody uses it.
Like
but it feels
I've made transactions with it and used it, my crypto credit or no debit card with it. Like what I did was like, not a lot of people have done that yet. So it's not the normal yet. Like you said, yeah.
It feels like it's gonna be incremental. Like it'll become more normal, and it'll be like another way of doing things.
Yeah.
Like you would pay cash, or you'd pay with a credit card, you pay with crypto.
My problem is that, well, some people might be okay with using whichever crypto. Just be aware that I know that energetically speaking, a lot of governments are planning to release out their own currency, like their own local currency, right? But just a quick reminder that it is controlled.
Yeah. They're not all the same.
No, they're not all the same.
Do your research, basically, is what you're saying.
It is controlled. Yeah. Like I'm keeping what I have, but I only invest in what I think and consider to be less controlled or not controlled at all.
And I think there's something to be said, because talking in general about finances, money, you know, it's a thing that it's a very 3D thing, right? We all have to deal with that in this life. We have to pay our bills. We have to do stuff, right? Everything like costs money. So what the advice I'm getting for everybody listening for now, like just now from when you're listening to this episode, is creating many streams of income, because it feels like those that are depending on one are in a very vulnerable place right now. I think that's in general, but it feels more so for 2023 and forward. So we've all been pushed. I think most of you listening will probably feel like you felt like you wanted to do a couple of things, or there's ideas you have. This is the moment to open those portals and start working towards opening those portals if it's not a possibility right now, because it feels like that could also leave you in a position that feels less vulnerable during the recession and during all this stuff. And to me, the recession, like I said, it feels like it's happening now, but it feels like it feels like they're showing me the map. It feels like it's going to affect some areas a lot more than others. Like some areas are going to thrive and some are going to really have a difficult time. Does that make sense?
That makes sense to me, because I vibrate that with real estate. I feel like real estate for like these northern countries areas, like the States and Europe, and all these, like, I feel like their real estate's going to be more complex and complicated. And I feel like the South somehow takes off.
I feel the same exact thing. Oh my gosh, yeah.
It's like, it's not going to be an issue in the South. Yes. So financially speaking, I understand what you mean by the money thing. Like the northern kind of more areas, I would add maybe for Australia, for example. I do feel like I would put them under the umbrella of the Europe and the US. I feel like they're going to have a complex scenario as well. So when I say the South, I feel more like South America.
I feel like they're going to be in between. When I say the South, I feel like South America.
Yeah.
More South America, I'm feeling. For some reason, I'm feeling South America. There's a lot going on there. I feel like and I don't know because I don't follow the news, but it feels like there's a lot of difficulties. But there's certain areas that to me will really thrive, where people could invest in different things, not just real estate. It could be other things, right? And then to me, the North, like North America, Canada, Europe, to me feel like they're going energetically through something really interesting in 2023, where it just feels, like I said, it doesn't feel like it's everybody. That's the thing, you know? It feels like there's a lot of people that are going to go through a lot of hardship, and other people are going to thrive. But in general, it feels like a more difficult energy. And Australia, I would put it in the middle. Like, I'm not feeling that extreme to one or to the other. It feels like it's in the middle. The same with like,
I don't feel like they're
Africa. Like,
I don't
Africa
feel like
feels
the boom,
like a little bit
like
in the
the
middle.
South that we were talking about just now. That's why I'm like, I guess I'd put it on the umbrella of
Asia. I'm feeling an interesting energy there too. Like,
I feel like there's so
too,
much,
right?
so much. Yeah, it feels difficult. For me, it feels more difficult with catastrophes, earth movements, and things like that. they're cycling through and clearing out a lot of karma from like the general collective of that area, right? Like as a general area, but then each country in itself has a lot of karma to cleanse. I don't know why, but I feel like they have a lot of karma to cleanse. So you guys have to remember that collectively as countries, each country has its own karma. And so even though we're all kind of on Earth and we're all kind of connected in a way, as well, we're all clearing things, because fifth dimension is no more karma. And more karma means that we need to release those things like belief systems, negative trauma, fear. And there's a lot of that apparently in Asia, from what I'm feeling, that needs to be cleared out. That. So Gaia needs to clear it out too. It's not just us. So that's what she's doing right now. So I would tell people, just try to find a place that feels safe. Like when you're saying like go towards where you were feeling, like that's the same scenario. Like if you're in the area of Asia, just kind of tune into yourself and say, does it feel safe here to me? Like, or where does it feel safe? And then try to place yourself in that area where it feels safe, because there's a reason why you're feeling that.
Agreed. Is there anything else you want to say on this topic, or?
So they talked about general American, like they asked American economy, and I feel like I've been waiting for the US dollar to have its major scenario issue, and I've expected it to happen for a year and a half now, I think. And
I know
the reason why I'm pretty sure I haven't seen it is because there's so much manipulation. They're just controlling it to keep it wherever it is that they want to keep at the time. And by the way, I don't feel like they're always going to want to keep it up. I feel like at some point they're going to feel like, okay, it's time, let it go. And so I'm wondering when they're going to decide that, because from my perspective, energetically, I wondering why it didn't happen sooner. But it's really manipulated, like severely. Like I know the euro is manipulated, I know they're all, but I mean, if something is very manipulated, it is the US dollar. It's insane. Like so bad. Yeah.
Agreed.
So it's kind of all still the dirty hands of those that, what is it? The powers that be still has a grip on the dollar. And when they stop manipulating it and let go, then I don't know how that's going to free fall exactly. But I do feel like there's some sort of really severe free fall in a sense. But generally speaking, every coin, every economy, every banking and financial system, it's supposed to collapse. We need them to collapse. I know that it's hard maybe to hear it, but we want them to collapse, because as long as we're functioning under them, we are under control. So we need to liberate ourselves. So then, what is your gut feeling? Start setting yourself up under places that are not so controlled. And so right now there is no options with that besides having things that you can trade off of or give to people and they give back to you if things get really, really bad. But the only other thing that we have right now, because we don't have too much to our disposal, it's those currencies that are not controlled. And a lot of people are going to get really upset if that free fall happens. A lot of people are going to get really upset because they're going to find out about the manipulation, because I know that everybody knows it's manipulated because of the printing, but I don't think people understand how manipulated it really is.
It's interesting. I'm seeing it with the probability, right? It could take a really messed up turn, or things could stay I'm seeing it 50-50 in that sense, depending on how people proceed. If people start doing what they need to do and stop trusting as much as they should be trusting, as they think they should be trusting. Like you said, it's controlled. So how do you start to put your faith in something else and find a way around these systems? The general feeling I get is I'm seeing two big possibilities. It could go tank, which means that it's going to affect a lot of us. But like I said, there's a possibility that if we're doing the work, we've opened the portals, we're doing things in a more aligned way, that we won't feel so affected by it. It won't be a big deal. But for those that are so ingrained and stuck in the system, it's going to be heavy. But this is also part of that free will that we talk about. This is how I'm getting it. Do they manipulate it to a point where it affects people in a really negative way, or do they not? There's probabilities there.
I think that there's a lot of beings that want to assist in that being less of a... I think that's what the 50-50 that you're feeling. There's a lot of positive light beings that want to assist in that. But I think we're the ones that determine if that's going to happen. Because if so many people are still asleep and so many people are not wanting to see that scenario, then I feel like it has to happen for them to wake up. Mm-hmm. It's like COVID was a slap in the face. Like 2023 is the year that if you don't wake up on that year, there's no more time for you to wake up. That's it. Like literally 2020 for me, the energetic is this is the year for those that haven't woke up to wake up. So I do feel like a lot of people are going to wake up. Right now, I feel like I would like more, like when I try to project out and connect with the amount of people that seem to be on that path to wake up in the near future, I feel like it should be a little bit more. I'm hoping for a little bit more. If we get that little bit more, then from my perspective, the way I'm perceiving it is we don't have to live out really dramatic collapse scenarios because we've already all gathered together and started putting ourselves on a path of finding secondary ways of doing things. And also we're already kind of so awake that we're assisting ourselves and others around us.
Yep.
Sometimes I think about like human beings are the only beings that need money to live on Earth.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about like you don't see it. You're not going to see it in the people that are on other planets, other beings that are on other planets. You are going to see it only with human beings. We're the only ones, at least in our universe, we're the only beings that use the system.
Yeah, but it's also bringing a lot of lessons, right? Because I think when so many people get so sucked in by money, greed, validation through money, I think it also, there's lessons in that. Some people have come to learn that too, right? Like, how do I just use money for good? How do I use money to create something? How do I use money to, that doesn't mean that you're not going to like enjoy it, right? It just means, how can I do something with it? It's a resource, like you said. I think for some people, not everybody, some people have big lessons with that. There's something to that. But I agree with what you're saying. Okay, next topic, if I'm going in the right order, because we wrote it separately. In general, I want to talk about spirituality and how to navigate things coming forward. We have a few questions on that. I'll let you start, because I feel like you've been talking a little bit about that already.
Can you repeat what you just said? Did you ask how we can prepare?
Just spirituality. Yeah, just spirituality. And, we talked about 5D. We talked about how to navigate things, what's happening in the world, how to combat things, the light workers, our healing. I think we can put that into there as well.
Yeah. Well, we have a really interesting energy coming in for the year 2023. And that's the energy that's going to help on top of the crises, scenarios, and things that go around. And there's a lot of truths that are going to continue to come out. At least, and the end of this year now, we're already seeing it, but like you're going to continue to see more truth coming out. Those truths that keep popping in, those are also ways for people to wake up. But the energies that come in 2023 are really, really, really positive for us to create those changes and align with our most divine self. That's purposeful. It's all perfectly planned, right? Like this was already kind of like known by our universe. And so the best way for us to be like, okay, I'm going to be taking care of the universe no matter what happens. It's literally that gut feeling thing I was talking about, but like it's trying to find things to expand your work. So it's no longer only one-on-one. And it's no longer one little you have to start thinking bigger because we need to start thinking collectively. And so a really good example of this is I called you the other day because I was like, oh, you know what? The Angelic Realm gave me, I was doing the Angelic Healing for the Patreon people. It was this Sunday I did it. And while I was doing it, I got a massive download and they gave me a structure of 4 different programs that I needed to create. But the one thing that they made it clear is we don't want you to be doing only one-on-one. And they showed me the whole scenario. And so what they showed me was, and this is an example of how to expand things bigger. The idea was that you needed to, in this case, I needed to gather a group of people that are going to be receiving it, the energy, and that energy is going to be hitting people from different places in the world, locations, right? And each of those people are receiving energy from that, in this case, the angelic realm. And so when they're receiving that, they're receiving it in a specific place in the world. That place now vibrates higher because they received that. So they're benefiting themselves, but they're actually benefiting their local community. And by a bunch of different local communities benefiting, then the collective starts also benefiting. And the more frequencies, energies coming in, thanks to us receiving, right, or doing the work, then that helps more people wake up as well. And then that will keep us off of the negative probability lines that we were just talking about, like for like the free fall of the dollar, right, and the coin, like that. If that how can we avoid that happening? Because we should be talking about solutions and not deciding this is what's gonna happen. They talked about the beginning, right? Like you co-create. So then I'm going to be part of the solution. We should all get into the mindset. I'm going to be part of the solution, and this thing is not going to collapse. It's going to leave our system because we're going to create a structure that we can pass on to before it affects us negatively. That's a great solution. But it has to start with us getting more people on board. And more people on board means more people need to get into this path. And so then the frequency is the number one thing that needs to come into play. Because the frequency is going to elevate the frequency of Gaia, of the collective, and then more people come in with us to the collective. There's more people in the collective. And so...
Wow. Yeah.
That's what I was seeing. In my scenario, that's what they gave me 4 different programs. They're all linked together with each other. They're all done on different days. And it's not just you're going to receive this frequency and you're going to have an amazing, you're going to let go of your karma. No, they're giving me a list of homework the person needs to do before the session. And then they receive the session and things they have to do after the session, right? So this isn't just you're going to be fixed by someone external, because it's not about that. This is now about you being your own God. And so, yes, you can get assistance from beings, but you need to do the work. And so this is, I'll be sending out like newsletter to people when my program comes out, that what I'm doing, because I'm in the middle of downloading the whole thing. But that's an example. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, that's an example of your work now has to get bigger. Just like we said, like we wanted to meet together with the whole Patreon community, as many as we can get together, and now start meeting each other in person. It's expanding. We need to expand the communities. We need to expand our exposure, our outreach,
Our message. Like, what are we doing? Like, what are we trying to communicate? And how do we communicate that better? Part of that is communicating it to a wider range of people. And that might mean we change the way we're doing things right now. Like you said, you downloaded this. What have some of you listening to the podcast right now, has there been something that you feel like you need to be doing and you're not doing it? A lot of people, like so many people in our podcast that listen to the podcast have said, I keep getting this message that I have to start a community. And lots of people have gone ahead and done that. They started their own communities, their own groups. They're assisting. They're being of service. People are helping each other. This isn't about money, right? This is about a higher purpose. Assisting, waking up, doing the work, helping people. It's like, in a way, like you said, people have to do their own work 100%. Because one thing's like me going to a reading, me getting a reading from you and then being like, okay, got all my answers. But then what do I do with that? Like we always said, what do you do after a reading? You have to do your work. You have to keep doing. You have to keep going deeper and deeper, and there's layers. So it's literally helping people get to that point where they feel like they have a support system to do their healing. And I agree with what you were saying for 2023. Like we need to be, if we're not on this path, it's going to be a really difficult year for those people. And we'll probably see people in our lives that aren't open to growing or healing, and they're going to have a hard time.
We have to learn to respect that, because that's their free will to decide that. So
total respect for that, no judgment. But like you said, if you're co-creating you have your own free will. You can decide to do that and help others do that without forcing it, without making it an obligation. But
Just
it's like,
make sure
I'm
not
here.
to waste your energy on trying to show them something that they're not going to see because
Yeah,
they're not
no.
ready for it. We need to be that's another thing that they're saying now. 2023 is the year where we're very aware of where we're putting our energy.
Amen.
150%. Like, you're checking.
Oh my God,
everything.
like 300%. Everything. No, everything from relationships
Yes.
to where you're living, your house.
How are you
you're showing
spending
up
your
for
time?
people, your money.
Maybe you have a job that you love. Great. But if you have a job you hate, that's energy you're wasting there. Try to find a way it doesn't have to be like leave your job and try to start beginning to find a way to fix that. Because the 5D structure can come in, but the only way that you are properly aligned for that ascension and that say, you know what, I'm going to live in complete harmony now and then I'm vibrating in this new frequency is you did it for yourself. So you're the one that has to get, no savior's going to come in. And there are a lot of people like, oh, UFOs are coming and they're going to take us out and they're pick us up. No, because UFOs are never going to pick up the guy that sat on the couch and ate potatoes. They will never pick that guy up. I'm sorry for that guy, but they will not pick him up. They're going to pick up the people that did their work, who are part of a active collective that actually are problem solvers, that have good character and that have good intentions. And those are the people that they'll come, assist, and save. Even if it's not even like coming down the whole ship, it's sending you frequency and messages and helping you and giving you intuitive hits, whatever.
Downloads,
whatever. But like, they're not going to assist the person that cries in the corner, for 20 years.
The victim role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you don't have the right to cry. No, of course, like, clear out all your crap and cry. And Lorraine and I do it all the time. But it's like, then the
Every
next
day
you get up and you say, no, I'm not having this anymore. I'm done. Like, like, at some point you need to decide that you're done with that scenario. And the only person that can decide that, and the only person that can change that, is you. You can get 20 readings if you want.
Mm-hmm.
And they can all say that you beautiful and amazing messages, but then you go back to your life and your life is the same. Then you need to make the changes. Change it. Do it. That's it. You deserve it.
The word I'm getting is like ownership and responsibility for our own lives and the co-creating, like you were saying at the beginning, right? Because if we're not in that energy, then things are just going to feel like they're happening to us and that things are harder than they really need to be. 100%. It's the energy aspect of, spirituality in 2023, or our own growth, our own healing is huge, because I think all of us are already feeling that energy now with the eclipse and all that. Like, some of us are shedding, some of us are letting go, some of us are trying to reaccommodate our lives to feel like we're aligned with our worthiness. And if we don't feel worthy, we're working through that and letting go of those things that aren't allowing us to step into what we need to. Lots of people.
And we have to learn.
A lot.
The really important thing is, I know that a lot of us have triggers, but triggers are the big part of the negative side of duality. And I'm not saying things can't bother you, but getting triggered to extreme where it creates a really negative emotion, what's the word? Powerful one? Like a really hard one? How would you say that? Like, having a little bit of, like, you get upset about something, okay, that's one thing, but getting so angry or extremely upset or extremely angry about something.
You feel it so deep. So deep.
Yes, that's like a massive trigger, right? That, or whatever it is that's going on. We're supposed to start finding a balance. So that means that we cannot fluctuate in the sense where one day we're so freaking upset, and the next day we're so freaking happy, and the next day we're so upset again. You're still living duality, and that's not fifth dimension. We have to find our center and our balance, and so that's something that we're all working on. So that means I'm going to shed my ancestral stuff. I'm going to shed my cellular memory. I'm going to even let go of all the stuff that my soul has carried from all these other lifetimes. So maybe I'm finding therapists to help me do hypnosis. Maybe I'm finding therapists that will help me get a Akashic reading to confirm something I know. And whatever assistance you want, that it's okay to get assistance. But get the assistance you need to create the internal balance. And maybe you'll get a little upset one day, but you're going to come right back to balance. It's like a spring. It goes back to its natural spot. That's what we need to become. That's what's going to guarantee that we're in the right place at the right time, And that all the 3D structures that are collapsing are not going to affect us.
Yeah, I agree with that. But also, when you were talking about getting the help, yeah, get the help, but then do your work. That's you feeling empowered too.
And that's why the angels were like, the angelic realm was like, you're going to do these 4 different types of sessions. Each of them have a different theme, but they're going to do work that's going to take them a few days before. And then they're going to do work after the session. They're not just going to sit there and receive the angelic healing and awesome, great, because it's time to take, you said it, responsibility. And so that is going to create a successful 2023 for you.
Amen. Yep.
Co-create and say, the dollar can collapse. Real estate can go to 2008 scenario, but I am that spring that's always bouncing right back to its balance. And somehow I'm going to be completely taken care of. I don't have to figure out how it's going to be because the universe has got it for me because I'm in the right place. I'm centered. So let's go to the question specifically. Because someone asked like what to expect, hope, love, or doom or anything. Expect both. There are going to be a lot of people that are going to be empowered, like you said. There's going to be a lot of people that are aligning with themselves finally, and they're actually going to be finally be doing better. And not living from paycheck to paycheck, for example, even though there's a crisis happening. Because they did the work and because they aligned with what they feel like they really want to do. And they place themselves at the right place at the right time. There's going to be people that are going to still be in the middle of the dependency role with the system. And they're going to be really, like you had said that as well, they're going to be really greatly affected. And it's, even if it doesn't collapse to a point where it gets bad because we did a lot of really good work, there's still going to be a sort of fall, a sort of recession, a sort of collapse. And so there are going to still be people that are affected, but that's not for you to worry about because you need to decide that you're not going to be one of those and you're going to do the work.
Agreed.
And you're going to
co-create kind of goes into some of the stuff. Yeah.
The new 5th dimension structure. Yes.
Yeah. Another question was, best way for light workers to combat the negative energies happening in the world?
Answered.
Yeah.
We answered that one.
How to prepare for what's coming?
Answered.
Also answered. Seems like crazy times are coming. How to get ready for this?
We kind of answered that, didn't we?
Answered.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we did. Do you want to say anything else about healing or spirituality?
Healers are really going to be needed when those people that have finally woken up. So, do you remember when they used to tell people that if they did spiritual work, they weren't supposed to charge?
Who said that?
There's like a lot of spiritual.
Oh, a lot of people say that.
Yeah. There's a lot of spiritual beliefs that you're not supposed to, if you do spiritual work, you're not supposed to charge. Yeah, we're human beings. We're stuck in the 3D matrix just like you. We need to be taken care of just as well, right? And so that now starts beginning to take a flip, where spiritual people have stood their ground. They cleared out all their stuff, all the stuff that we're talking about just now. They cleared all that stuff out. They did all the work. And now they're just loving what they do. They're assisting with love and alignment. And now they're abundant. And maybe you don't have $1 million in your bank account, but every time you need something, boom, it appears.
It's there.
You got it.
You're taking care.
That's what real abundance is. Real abundance is I have $2 million stored in my account just in case. No. Real abundance is somehow I need $20 and boom, $20 comes in. Somehow I need $100 and boom, $100 comes in. That's real abundance. And so the spiritual workers are finally going to feel their empowerment and they're being taken care of by the universe because they're going to start needing to do a lot more work and they're going to find love in the work that they do because there's going to be so many people new to the field, new to the modalities, new to the healing, and we're going to be needed. We're really going to be needed. So I want to add that for the additionally for the people that might be on healing paths. Maybe you're a homeopathic doctor. Maybe you're a Reiki healer. Maybe you're an Akashic Records reader. Maybe you're, I don't know, whatever it is you do, but hypnotherapist, whatever it is, like whatever it is that you can assist with people that are just waking up, you're going to be severely needed. In 2023, it's going to begin. You're going to be really needed. So clear out your stuff now. Get your stuff done because it's not going to be easy for a lot of people and you're needed.
100%. But also, I think we also, each of us individually as souls, but also with this role that we're playing in this life as spiritual healers or whatever, doctor, whatever that is, right? What does success mean for us? I think it's good to start to put that into place, because then when we are seeking to co-create, we already have that kind of roadmap. Does success mean that I'm able to do my work and be compensated in a specific way? Is it that I'm able to spend more time with my family? What is that? What does success mean to you personally? And have that very clear moving forward for 2023, because that's going to help clear out things that mean nothing to you. Like, why are you going to attract that if you don't need it? Like the hardship, I mean.
Yeah. Just follow your gut, because for everybody it's going to be different.
Totally.
For me, I'm adding a new component to what I do, and it's more physical. I'm going to be doing much more physical healing now. And, it's something I felt the pull to do, and I've been interested in. And I was like, oh yeah, I want to do it. No, I shouldn't. Oh yeah, no. I was like back and forth, but I knew that that's actually what I felt like I wanted to do, like big time. And sometimes you just need someone to be like, no, you're not crazy. That's what the Akashic readers always do, right? We just tell people things that they already freaking knew. They just needed someone to confirm it, right? So I myself as a reader needed someone neutral, external to Lucia to tell her. And so I went to someone I really trust, and I got a session with her, and she would. I didn't even tell her I was thinking about doing that. So for me, when she brought it up, and I wasn't going to ask about it because I was still fluctuating with it, and I was like, oh. And she brought it up, and she said, you need to start using your hands to heal now. Like, you've been healing in the mind and all that stuff, but now you need to really start bringing in, like, the beauty with the hands. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're telling me this, but I already know this always happens in reading, so I don't know why I'm surprised. And so that's where I am, and I'm setting myself up to do that. And I started my courses, and it's a whole new field for me, guys. But I'm taking the action, and I don't know how exactly it's going to pan out and how I'm going to begin it, but I know that I have to do it, and I know that it's part of my path. So sometimes it's part of your path just for a reason, and you just have to honor it and do it.
Amen.
So if you need someone to confirm it for you, then get someone to confirm it for you and get it done.
To feel like it's validated in some way.
Yeah.
But also, you're being asked more to trust than to have to get external validation at this point, right? Yeah. Follow your heart. Just follow your intuition. Do that as much as you can moving forward.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really complicated to kind of like do a 2023 or whatever year predictions, because every soul's got a different thing going on. And there's a lot of cycles closing for souls, because a lot of us are not coming back again. And so a lot of those souls have really specific things they want to get in. And so even if it maybe seems a little out there and insane, there's probably a reason why it's coming up for you.
Of course. Yeah. Okay. Next topic is health, well-being. I guess we say like medical issues, things like that. Kind of what to look out for, consider. Obviously the last couple of years have been challenging in regard to, I don't want to say too much because I don't know how much, all this stuff is. We're just giving information here, but like what's coming? Is there anything we need to know? Is there anything that we need to look out for? And things to help us get through that if something is there to pay attention to.
For me, what I'm understanding is that the biggest place where we gave away our power was literally in our health.
Yeah.
Even more so than money, even more so than all that stuff. And so that is a massive karmic lesson that the collective is really awakening to. And I feel like 2023 should really be a year where a lot more people that have not realized the amount of their own power they gave away. And I'm not just talking about the last 2 years that you might be thinking what I'm talking about, because I am talking about those things. I'm also talking about the food that they've convinced us that we should eat. The way that they've told us we had to sit down at a desk for 8 hours, 9 hours, right? None of that is healthy. Our bodies were not made to do those things. And so from the food to our lifestyle to obligations, all these things we gave
stress.
Stress. All of those things, we gave our power away in our health. And the biggest collective lesson we're going through that's coming and reactivating from the Atlantean times, by the way, is what they're telling me. So the collective, all of us souls were here for Lemurian or Atlantis. Most of us from Atlantis, like some of us even furthermore. But the majority of us from Atlantis. And the biggest lesson that we're repeating that we need to this time, we have to nail it this time, guys. We need to clear it out this time, is realizing that we gave our power away with our health and our body. And so that is a big, massive shift that we're supposed to go through in 2023. So for me, a lot of people are going to start being aware of it, waking up to it, realizing it, and putting their foot down finally.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think there's going to be a lot of things that pop up also in the year that will help us continue to confirm that, if that makes sense. Where we're going to be maybe tested a little bit, be like, oh, did you learn that lesson? Are you really paying attention? Are you making the decisions from what you feel is right or from what you're being told? And also, I think just a lot of, aftermath of everything that we've lived for the last 2 years. I think it's slowly creeping up in 2023, where we're going to see some repercussions of that. Slowly, things will come to light, truths will come out. It's already happening, but I think 2023 will be that shift, that massive shift where it's like a lot of us will really look at our health and how we're living and change the things that we need to change, hopefully, finally.
Yeah. I think that the important thing here is if you're one of those people that are aware of something at some point, maybe let's just say it's food. This whole time I was eating this cereal and it's full of heavy metals, for example, right? And I didn't know that and the box never said it and I was totally lied to and I totally believed that it was healthy or bio, whatever. Like, do not decide already that that's it. This is in my body and I'm done and I can't do anything about it. Like, you're giving your power away again. We're supposed to learn to empower ourselves. So every time a problem or awakening comes upon you, you have to know that there's always a solution. You are the solution.
That there's a solution.
Yeah. You are the solution, and you will find a way. If you realized it and said, no, I'm not accepting it. So in that case, for example, you find out that there's a product that will detox you from all those cereal stuff, all the junk that Sora gave you. Okay, I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to use frequency to change it. And I'm going to connect with my higher self. And I'm going to do this, and I'm going to find assistance from this doctor over here, this healer over here, Like, that's the empowerment. Part of the lesson of empowerment for those that have just started seeing it, they need to go, wait, no, I'm not accepting that.
And not only that, I think a big lesson for all of us. Some of us understood it from the beginning. Some of us might be understanding it now or might understand at some point in this year coming. Advocating for ourselves, right? Like, what feels right to you? What do you know? I think a big part of this, of us being these souls incarnated in these physical bodies, is we know our body more than anybody. We know what's going on. We know what feels right, what feels off. You get that intuitive hit, talking about the intuition again, right? Something feels off, and this person's telling me this. Actually, you know what? I know there's something deeper to this. I think there's also that energy that we need to get in with our bodies for the coming year. I mean, now, really. If we haven't already integrated, that's like, something feels off. Let me explore this. Let me explore it. Let me try different things like you were saying, but let me trust what I feel is right or wrong for me. And advocate for yourself, because not everybody has the same intentions as you do to heal, right? And there's a lot of underlying currents of reasons why people might push one thing and not another. So trust what feels right for you in your gut. And I think something we learned in the last couple of years is like, educate yourself. Look at every perspective. Look at all the opinions. Look at all the data. Look at it all. It doesn't matter what we're talking about, right? All of it for your own health. From issues you might be having, symptoms you might be feeling, and figure it out. Mm-hmm. There's different opinions we can get and different perspectives.
Yeah. I was going to add something while you were talking. I was going to add something. What was it? Lost it. Totally lost
Akashic
it.
records again.
If I remember it, I'll come back to it. But I totally lost it. Yeah. So let me see if there's anything else we want to add about health and well-being in general. We really need to go back to. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Yes, it's okay. Okay. Thank you. They're reminding me of the phrase, your body is your temple. We need to be very careful with what we put into our body. And so this goes with the quality of the water, the food we drink, the medications we're taking, everything. And I did a whole episode on Patreon about the importance of our DNA. And our DNA can be affected by many things, like the GMO foods and things like that. Like, what can you do to protect yourself with all these things that are around you? Like, I'm just naming one of the things that people think that, I'm not saying everything alters your DNA. I'm just naming things that people like have looked into and studied and said, well, we think they modified the seed and maybe they modifies this and that. But there are a lot of components around us that do affect our DNA. And our DNA is the essential component that we have to literally activate and connect better with our soul and our soul mission. And our soul chose that DNA. It was the perfect DNA for our soul. So we need to make sure that we really protect it and take care of it with everything we ingest, every single thing we put in our body. And so I just wanted to add that because, this was an episode I did a while ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. Another thing is like our body's also helping us realize what we need to heal inside of ourselves at a more at a deeper level, right? Because it's like when symptoms arise in our body, there might be something underlying that. Of course, it could be things that we're consuming, 100%. But let's look at all of it. Part of it could be what we're consuming. Another part could be emotional stuff. So this is also us this coming year tuning into our bodies, for our bodies to speak to us listening to our bodies and being able to really go deeper with it and heal ourselves, because those symptoms are coming up for a reason. Our body's always looking to be in a healthy state. When it's not, there's something there we need to pay attention to. And then we have to look at every aspect. It's kind of like putting everything into categories and then ticking things off, right? And the emotional stuff, the healing stuff, we can't take that out of that equation. It's always going to be a part of it, and we need to make sure that we're listening.
Yeah, well said.
And then the last one, I don't know. I'm just going to laugh a little bit.
Okay, so let's do the one that I like more first. UFOs.
Yeah, I think that's, I would just end with the UFOs, and then the rest of the stuff I would just leave out because I don't know, I'm not really getting anything with the other stuff. Okay.
So it's really interesting because I don't remember how far back, but I remember one point I received and felt that in 2026 it was going to be a lot more people having direct connections or encounters or communication with aliens. So I still feel that for 2026. But what I really find interesting now that this is coming up, 2023, is a lot of people that have been on the soul path journey will begin to have more direct encounters, interactions, or communications with beings from other places. So
I feel that, yeah.
Those that have been doing work and things that have not had that experiences can begin to prepare themselves for those encounters, because the more individuals that are on Earth that can, what's the word to use here? Confirm to the human population that they're real, I had this encounter, The more of us that come out and have those encounters and come out and talk about it, I'm not saying because I had one, because I didn't. I'm just saying the more of us that those have one, human beings, and they come out, the more it becomes normal and the less fearful we all. And that takes away to the equation any possible UFO invasion, false UFO invasion that they might want to place upon us. So I want you guys to listen to the words I use. so I don't have to say it in a way that might be turned off, shut down. Yeah. They want to make sure that we are in a balanced and secure place with the beings that have been a part of our families, that do want the best for us. We need more people to be here to say those things and talk about their encounters, so that if there are a more general collective encounter supposed that we're seeing in the sky, there is not fear, because that is a supposed controlled scenario. I'm going to use controlled scenario that they might want to place upon us, because it's all about lowering our frequencies, keeping us in fear. But mostly it is about keeping us distance from our families that are actually part of a solution.
Yeah.
There's an evasion of a solution. So
I'm not connecting so much to this information. I'm connecting more to the extra dimensional information, which I guess kind of ties in, right? Where I feel like portals are opening for us to also, as humans, be able to connect more with. So I could see a lot more people coming through and channeling extra dimensional beings, or getting messages or downloads in that sense. I can see that happening way at a larger scale for the coming year. But in a way for us to assist, right? Not just because I'm getting messages and they're just random. They're messages that are deep, profound, healing, helping humanity, helping us see other perspectives and understanding kind of our ways here, or something deeper.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think it's a really good way to wrap up also the episode, kind of saying this. We need to remember that all of us are here either to assist humanity, because we're starseeds, to assist humanity in the ascension. So our souls are already evolved from somewhere else. They've already gone through so many lifetime experiences. They came here to Earth to be part of the collective jump quantum leap, right? So either our soul is that, or our soul is here in the process of finishing their evolution. That's why we did the, all the way from Atlantis to now. This is all a process and era of evolution, right? So the souls are ending. That's why a bunch of souls are not coming back, because some of them are star seeds that have finished their mission, and some of those are beings that just finished the cycle of evolution. They went to 5th and they did it. Awesome, right? And so I think it's important to remember who we are, why we're here. And I really believe that those individuals that on a consistent basis remind themselves who they are, why are they here. They don't feed into all the negative, like this awful scenario is happening over there. Okay, I know the truth. I'm aware of it. I'm not going to be fed lies about it. I'm not oblivious to it, but I'm not a part of that. I already passed that. So you need to actively decide that. So remember that we're training to be our own gods. We're at some point, our souls are going to be working in conjunction either with creators that are creating massive universes and planets, or we're going to be one of those creators creating universes and planets. And so this is the boot camp. And we did a whole episode, remember, like Boot Camp Earth? This is the boot camp where the soul's like, I'm going to learn to be a creator in the most dense and complicated place possible. And then after that, I can do it in other places. So remind yourself of that when there's a collapse, when there's a negative scenario, when there's a possible attack or war or whatever that they're telling you that there is. Remind yourself that you don't have to be a part of it. Some people might sign up for it. You cannot change that for them. But you can decide to not be a part of it.
Well said. Well said. Mic drop. See you later, guys. No, I'm just kidding.
I feel like it's a very divided year. I think that's another way to wrap it up.
I feel the duality of the year too.
There's going to be a lot of people and heaviness, and a lot of people, a lot of light workers thriving, man. All of a sudden, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I was always living paycheck to paycheck. I'm doing really well now. And over here, all these people that used to do well are doing bad. What's going on? What kind of world do we live in?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it's very divided.
It's very divided, but But I think there's a lot, I don't know why I get this feeling of like, the collective's important, communities are important, but also they're putting a lot of emphasis on our individual growth and healing, because that's what's going to predict how we navigate and move through and experience 2023. It could be super smooth, or it can feel like we're going over these bumps all the time.
Yeah.
Depends. So know that we're in control of that by how we're deciding to move forward, how we're healing, what we're looking at, how we're co-creating, how we're, like you said, we're becoming our own gods, our own source in a sense. So, yeah. So we're going to be doing deeper channeling on the Patreon. So if you guys are interested in that, that'll be coming soon. I'm going to probably put that up for November, I assume.
Yes.
So we're going to be doing that very soon. And
I'm going to be adding a form. I'm just, because I was just thinking that I don't have enough time to do it for the next episode. Because if anybody's interested, I need them to sign up in time and begin their homework. So my idea is the first healing would be, I had wrote down the dates and I didn't bring it with me now. Oh no. It's on Sundays. So it's the Sunday the 20th would be the first healing.
Okay, so then this episode is coming out on
The
Monday
7th.
the 7th, right before the eclipse.
Yeah, right before the eclipse. So I'm going to be leaving a form down in the show notes where you can look at the program, the 4 programs. Each are totally different, but if you want to do all 4 of them, you can. Because each of them links to the next one. But you can decide to you want to do one of them. I'm doing it super cheap, so a lot of people can sign up because that's the whole idea. I want a lot of people to sign up because I need all those different portals receiving the energy. But I also want all the people clearing out stuff, because the more we clear out, the more we receive, the better the collective is going to be doing. The whole thing we talked about before. So I'll just be leaving a forum where I'll describe. I'm going to be putting videos in there where I'll talk about each program and what it's supposed to do and all that. And you can sign up for one or all of them. And yeah,
I love it. Yeah, we'll definitely put that in the show notes, and we'll post that on our social media. So our Soul Tribe Podcast Instagram, we'll put that link there. We'll probably put it on the Facebook, and I'm sure Lou will share it on her Instagram. So all those links to those channels will be on the show notes. Also, quick reminder, because I was just thinking that we still have our package deals where we do angelic healing, dual Akashic record readings, and flower essence therapy. So I'll make sure I link that on the show notes as well. And yeah, finish the year on a high note with healing. That's also why I'll also remind people, today's the 2nd of November that we're recording this, but I also have a sale going on for the entire month of November with my Akashic counseling. So Akashic counseling is basically where I connect your Akashic records, but it's more of like a back and forth. So I hold space for you during those 45 minutes, and we're able to kind of intuitively tune into those things that you're going through. You can ask questions, but it's more us working through together those things that are coming up for you so you can heal them. Sometimes there's homework, sometimes there's a little bit of family system stuff in there, but ultimately it's for your healing and for your kind of to find sometimes for some people it's to find their purpose, to work through things that they're going through. So I basically have 25% off on the individual sessions, but also on my package deal, which is 4 sessions. And you can use those whenever you want. So if you want to just book them now and use them later on, that works too. That'll be for the whole month of November. So I'll make sure I link that post as well on the show notes. Yeah, and excited to see what comes for 2023 for the podcast. Lou and I still have to do our yearly meeting where we kind of project to see what we want to bring. I think some stuff already coming up, which is really exciting. But also, we always love hearing from you guys. So if you guys have any suggestions, any feedback, anything you want to say that could help kind of elevate the content that we're putting out for the podcast, feel free to DM us, email us. Our contact form's on the show notes as well. This podcast is for you guys too. So we want to hear from you, right?
Yep.
All right. thanks for tuning in. We love you all.
This was the weirdest episode because it was like, usually it's very, very pinpointed. It's like, is this one thing that really seems like it's a probability or possibility line. But in this case, it really is. You decide which line you get on. It's insane.
It's pretty cool. I like it.
I've never seen it like that before. But that makes sense. If we're going through the 3D, 5D divide and some people don't sign up for it, that makes sense that it's like that now. So, yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Go on.
No, good insight. I like that. I think it's good to reflect on what's come through because, it's a lot. It's a lot of information.
So we've never seen it. Like, I think it's so interesting because I've never seen it like that.
I've never felt it like that.
Yeah.
You see it. I feel it.
We're so different even in that.
I love it. Sending you all love and light and healing, and we will see you or hear you. I never know what to say at the end. I'm like, see you next time. I don't see any of you. I wish I could. So we'll be back with a new episode next week.
Time.
Yeah, and we will be taking a break at the end of the year, so we'll keep you guys posted on what dates those are for us to start season 5 of the podcast.
My goodness.
Yeah, it's not even a season. It's like year 5 of the podcast because we don't really have seasons. I call it seasons, but yeah. All right, love you guys, mwah, 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 and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye, guys. Thank you.